And at first, I studied human brains, and then I branched out into animal brains. And I had the honor of writing an article with Mark Beckhoff, one of the great animal scientists, about the bee brain, the lizard brain, and the bird brain, and how these amazingly small brains are just remarkable. A bee knows symbolic logic, can travel 5 miles and know every flower and know which is better and which has it's a mathematical problem called the traveling salesman problem. How do you maximize going to many places? And bees can do this. They can solve this problem, as well as medicate their hives. And ants also, unbelievable. I wrote stuff about the individual ant, the individual bee. I'm talking not just this
collective
hive, whereby they try to throw out the inherent intelligence of these creatures by saying, oh, it's a hive phenomenon. But it isn't. The individual bees, the individual birds, the individual lizards, and lizards are way smarter than anyone ever realized. In any case, that led me further, deeper into amoebas and cells. I found amoebas showed they showed empathy for their family. They would sacrifice themselves for their family. And the more I studied, then I studied bacterial cells, viruses, and I began to look at all the human cells, not just the neuron, not just the brain cells, and found remarkable activity going on. That after about 8 or 10 years, it dawned on me that everything I could see was based upon communication between the cells, and the cells not just talking to their neighbor, and we all know that neurons communicate with other neurons. I mean, every kid knows that. There's the axon, and it sends a message to the next one. But what we don't know in college biology, high school biology, is that neuron is communicating in many other ways. It's communicating sideways, in between, sideways from the axon to immune cells. It's communicating through electrical fields, gradients. It creates little vesicles that it sends out to the cells that make the myelin, which speeds up things. And but then the remarkable thing was that all the other cells are doing the same thing. That every single cell, and two of the most remarkable cells are the capillary cells. That's the tiny little blood vessel cell that is sending messages all the way through the body, way down to the foot to say, well, there's an infection up here in the lung, you got to get here, and it's sending signals. Once they get to the spot, they create a little, first they make sure they're the right cell, they talk back and forth, and then they communicate, they make a little highway into the tissue, and then once they're in there, there's communication. It's unbelievable. They're communicating at vast distances. How does a capillary cell know to talk to something that's 3 feet away? It became obvious to me, and bacteria do this, but even viruses do this, and that really blew my mind when they found virus signals.